if you haven't done a peer review yet, this is our last group, so you should do that.
When you hear the word poaching, you either think one of two things: eggs simmered in water and served with your breakfast, or exotic animals in Africa, such as rhinos, being killed for their parts. But you'd be surprised that it's a growing problem in Minnesota, and it affects towns around us. Caroline and I are both Minnesota residents, and Caroline has firsthand experience with the issue. Poaching is a growing issue that, if not stopped, will continue to harm our environment. Today we will discuss what poaching is, what the cause is, and ways to solve it. So first, Caroline will discuss what poaching is.
Thank you, Nkem. I will begin with the problem. Poaching happens everywhere all across the world, but most importantly, it happens in our backyard. Plus, these animals go unreported, and it makes it difficult for the government to know the levels of the population. So let's first start off with what is poaching. According to the Free Dictionary by Farlex, it has defined poaching as the illegal shooting, trapping, or taking of game or fish for private or public property. Poaching happens everywhere. Like we mentioned before, it happens all across the world, like in Africa with the rhinos, or in Minnesota with the deer. Poaching is also known as hunting when not in season, without the use of a tag and license, or not reporting your harvest to the Minnesota Department of Natural Resources. The MNDNR works with the turn-in poachers, or the TIP organization. The TIP organization takes in annual statistics about poached animals. Now let's go into more of a statistic side of the poaching. On the TIP website, it gave the numbers of poached animals in 2016. These were 158 deer, 57 fish, and 24 waterfowl. Of these statistics, these animals were the most common known to our group. On the page, there's also 10 more animals listed. Out of all of these animals, the highest month of the animals being poached was in November, with 107 cases. Out of those 107 cases, 74 of them were deer, and we can tie this into deer hunting season because it falls in the first 2 weekends of November of each year. That was our problem with poaching, and now Nkem will speak to you about the cause of poaching.
Thank you, Caroline. Poaching negatively impacts the environment and economy. The most significant impact is on the environment. Lessening the amount of an animal in any given area disrupts the region's ecosystem. For example, let's take the deer. Let's say it's driven into extinction due to overharvesting, or the population grows significantly, pushing out other species. A real-life example would be the North American gray wolf. In the 1980s, the wolf was endangered, so its populations were extremely low. So its prey, the elk, its population began to grow, and it ate the aspen tree into almost extinction. Now let's talk about the economy. So if a region's economy is tourism-based, and the tourism is mainly wildlife attractions, poaching puts the community at risk for economic hardship. Tourists often boycott areas where poaching is prevalent. So things like restaurants, hotels, and rentals all suffer, causing job loss, financial cutbacks, and financial instability. In 2016, a study was done by Nature Communications showing that $25 million is lost annually in African countries because of poaching. Tying that back to Minnesota, Minnesota has many wildlife attractions. According to the Minnesota DNR, in 2001, wildlife watching experiences brought in $531 million and created 13,000 jobs. Those with these jobs earned over $231 million in income, which resulted in $11 million in income tax, state income tax being paid, and $33 million in federal income tax being paid. Though these numbers are dated, imagine how they'd be affected if poaching were to continue. So that's what poaching causes. Now to Caroline with our solution.
Thank you, Nkem. Now for our solution. Our solution has two parts to it. First, realizing that fines won't put an end to this, and second, making poaching more understandable to the public. Fines have been put in place for many years, but we as a public have to understand that fines won't replace a deer. According to the Minnesota state law of poaching of an animal, the person convicted of the crime is issued no less than $100 and no more than $3,000 in fines, and no more than less than 90 days in jail, and no more than a year. Looking up research for the fines on poaching in other countries besides the U.S. was difficult for us, and we were unable to find information. This shows that the U.S. is working towards punishment against poachers, but it is not enough to put an end towards poaching. Making poaching more understandable to the public will allow people to understand what is truly happening. The TIP organization is doing a huge part in this. It allows the public to call them 24/7 about poached animals, but there needs to be more of this. As an incentive, the TIP organization has offered rewards to the public if they catch a poacher. If we put more effort into the laws and having the public understand the situation, then we can put an end to poaching. That was our solution to the poaching crisis. Now Nkem will finish off with the conclusion.
So as you see, poaching is a growing issue that, if not stopped, will continue to harm our environment and economy. Today we discussed what poaching is, what it causes, and our solution to the issue. So if you see any poaching going on in your area, report it to the Minnesota Department of Natural Resources at 1-800-652-9093 or #TIP.